Alrighty everyone, welcome back to another breakdown video, and I think most of you will appreciate this one because Hakuoho is the big new hotness out on the track, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be wondering what he's up to, and well, this video will help us break down his style, see what his brand of sumo is, and how he got to those 11 wins in the first place just outside of the Yusho race. And as per usual, we're going to watch the video full speed and then break it down step by step afterwards if we need to, because, you know, some matches are just, Tachi-ai, push out, wah. But, yeah, I'm really glad to see that you guys have given this video, all 15 of his days, almost 5,000 views, which is pretty awesome. And, you know, these are numbers I didn't really expect to be hitting on these videos, so I want to thank you all for watching these videos, putting them on the map for other people to see, because mostly the reason why I wanted to make these all 15 days videos in the first place is because, you know, that's how I got into sumo in the first place, being able to find all 15 days of Tochinoshi and all 15 days of Hakuoho, all 15 days of Enho, and, you know, being able to get access to future favorite sumo wrestlers like that is pretty cool. So I'm hoping that, you know, in someone else's pursuit to find their new favorite sumo wrestler, that these videos help them out, even if it is someone who had a losing record or, you know, whatever else. So enjoy this breakdown video the same way you enjoy the all 15 days videos as per usual. The man we're covering is going to be in blue, and his opponent is either going to be in yellow or in pink, whichever one we decide on, or whichever one I accidentally click on first. And this first match is going to be Hakuoho versus Aoyama in a battle between the old and the new, which is something I say pretty commonly because there are a lot of rookies finally making their way back up into this top division. And there are a lot of veterans who are holding on to everything they can in the top division as well, Aoyama being one of them, turning around his tournament for a winning record, which was pretty unexpected, especially after his start. So let's take it from the top. Day one of the Nagoya Basho, what were the expectations? Did we think at this point that Hakuoho was going to be fighting in the Yusho race? Some people did. And you can see that reflected in the Kachi clash, where a lot of people picked Hakuoho. I myself picked Konoyama. You couldn't really go wrong with either pick. And, well, let's just take it from here. Aoyama down first, and Hakuoho slaps down away at the hands, trying to parry a lot of these blows from Aoyama. Aoyama doesn't really have any pushing power forward, and he's going to let Hakuoho get underneath and get the push out. So this is like Aoyama's old style before he changed it up recently. Well, by recently, I mean like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he changed his style to be more aggressive at the Tachi-ai, and he started seeing success with it. But since then, he's fallen back on his old strategy of stand up and just try to go for thrusts at the Tachi-ai. And this is very much old Aoyama here. You'll notice right after the Tachi-ai, Aoyama does get a step forward, and Hakuoho, what he actually does is get these hands up inside to try to push his own hands in up to the chest. But Aoyama is very content to take the step back and then stay at this arm's length. And you're going to notice for every thrust Aoyama delivers, Hakuoho tries to scoop up at the arm to deflect the attack away, try to parry that attack so he doesn't take as much force, and so he could maybe throw Aoyama off balance. But you're going to notice a lot of blows being exchanged here, and every single time Aoyama taking a step back, he's delivering blows to the chest, and they are meeting their mark. But like I said, for Hakuoho, he just attacks the elbow, attacks the arm that's coming in, and you can even see like a good example of it up here, deflecting Aoyama's attack up and away, so it's not doing as much damage as he would hope so. And Aoyama, eventually he's going to run himself backwards, or you're going to get inside against him. And as much as I hate to say it, it is an inevitability that Aoyama will usually let an opponent inside if he's not the one aggressing at the Tachi. So that's exactly what happens in this match. After deflecting a bunch of these blows over and over again, Aoyama takes too big of a step forward. You can see now, after taking this step forward, he's kind of stood straight up and allows Hakuoho to get a grip around the arm, which if you're an Sumo wrestler, you don't want your arm to get gripped. So how is he going to respond? He's going to pull back this arm. He's going to step back. He's going to pull away so he can try to step back and then continue throwing those hands. But Hakuoho is just going to stay on the pursuit here. He's going to push forward, nearly got the grip under the armpit. And even here, Aoyama tried to go for a pull. Like, he had his hands in the armpits and he tried to pull and probably going to try to follow up with a slap to the back as he usually does. But Hakuoho has a very solid base here. He's just got, his hips right above his feet, his shoulders a little ahead of that, but that's because he has to lean forward into the attack. So this pull down attempt from Aoyama, really all that it does is expose his chest. And that's going to allow Hakuoho to jump in at the chest, get the inside left grip, and then go for the push out. And this is a good showcase of Hakuoho's strength in his reactive sumo wrestling at the very least, but we couldn't really see his style of sumo here. Of course, like I mentioned in a lot of these videos, playing back, playing defensively, and waiting for your opponent to make a mistake is still a solid way to do sumo. But when you have, your own defined style, that's when we start to see the consistency in the sumo. Excuse me. I like to take a sip of water between each of these matches because it keeps the throat wet. It wets the whistle. All right, here we go. Kageyaki versus Hakuoho. I guess I'll commentate this for the recording. Oh yeah, this was, the internet went out for this match. And a lot of people did not see this match live, but you could see that they're still chatting because apparently I was still connected, but I wasn't. It was kind of funny. So a lot of people did not get to see this match live, unfortunately, but I did commentate it for the recording. Hakuoho versus Kageyaki. Kageyaki is the one to step forward, gets a good slap to the face, but now Hakuoho gets a grip on the outside right, pulls back with the outside left, and then converts that into a push forward. So right off the Tachi, this is a more aggressive Tachi to deal with. Kageyaki, he takes the step forward like Aoyama does, but he stays up and attacking the face. Stays up, attacking the face, stays up, attacking the face. And he's going to try to continue pushing forward. And Hakuoho, what he does in response is he dips his head low to try to get it into the chest. And, when you dip your head and shoulders low, that gets your arms lower. So he's probably trying to scoop underneath so he can either, deflect these attacks again from Kageyaki or try to get a grip on the belt. What happens here is he does kind of get a grip around the arm, but Kageyaki is blocking it with this inside right, not allowing Hakuoho to get this outside left. You can see it's just barely not there. And from here, Hakuoho, he does have the lower stance. He can drive forward a little bit more, but this back leg is straight. So if he wants to drive, he needs to dip the hips. He needs to take a step forward, really drive the knee up to kind of deliver that force. And if he can't, then Kageyaki is going to stay in control, which you can kind of see he got that step forward, and at the same time, he rose his shoulder so he could get the arm up in the armpit. So instead of having his arm locked just inches away from the belt, he opts to get a grip under the armpit, stand up Kageyaki even more, and that's again going to allow him to get better leverage because you can see his knees bent, knee bent, hips lower, shoulders lower, and that's going to allow him to push Kageyaki up because Kageyaki, his legs are a lot more straight, hips higher, shoulders higher, and when something like this happens, you just get pushed up. I was going to say push and pull at the same time, which I mean, it kind of is, but you get propped up and able to be pushed. And after a couple of efforts, you can see this is a cool move right here from Hakuoho too. He keeps the grip on the right hand right here. You can see the grip right here on the belt. But before that, what he's going to do is kind of what I said earlier, where he gets himself lower. So in using this inside left to prop up Kageaki's shoulder, he's going to pull it away, lower his shoulders a little bit more, and basically recharge Kageaki like another Tachi-ai while keeping this grip on the belt so he can pull Kageaki in, and then because his hips are lower, like he's got that bullfrog stance right now, his knees are very well bent, he's sprung up ready to strike, so he's going to coil just a bit more and then spring up into the chest. And with this pull and this grip, he controls Kageaki the entire way, and he's going to be able to regain the grip. Kageaki now off balance, and from here it's a simple forward push. Very well done. Very smart sumo from Hakuoho, as that moves us into the next day against Takeda Fuji. Another battle between the old and the new. Hakuoho versus the longtime veteran of the ring. Very well known for his LeoDSumo. He's got some really defined butt muscles right there too. Like, this guy has some crazy legs for a 30-plus-year-old. Hakuoho, his opponent here. What is he going to do against a LeoDSumo guy after 2 straight days of Oshizumo guys? Meets chest to chest, but gives up the inside grip. Makes Takeda Fuji lose it, but in what was kind of a chaotic effort to regain a grip, he slips because Takeda Fuji turns him to the side. And the reason why I say it was kind of a chaotic bid for the grip is because he kept on slapping with the hands. We'll see it when we slow it down and break it down. But you can see he pulls his head to, his right, our left this way. Inside elbows for both of them. They're both trying to bounce each other either up and away, or they're trying to get inside dominance. So meeting with both of these shoulders inside, or elbows rather, inside, it's going to be a battle of who has the stronger Tachi-ai here. And we can see it's relatively even, and from here you have to ask yourself who has the better stance, who has the more solid base and can handle the other pushing against him. So at this relatively even Tachi-ai, Takeda Fuji really nicely bent knees, not exactly lower than his opponent. Hakuoho is a bit lower, trying to drive into the chest, trying to convert that, those forearms inside to an outside grip on the belt right here. You can kind of see the inside hand right there too. But he's trying to immediately go for the grip, whereas Takeda Fuji, he's opted to go for a more solid base and a solid stance. And that allows Takeda Fuji to get the grip instead. So I think this is Hakuoho's inexperience showing just a tiny bit, because, again, at this Tachi-ai, it's an even Tachi-ai. Takeda Fuji opts to sit his hips back and get a better footing compared to Hakuoho, who tries to drive forward and get a better grip. And Hakuoho doesn't get either of them. Hakuoho doesn't get the better grip, he doesn't get the better footing, whereas Takeda Fuji, he got the better footing, and he used that to convert it into a grip. So definitely veteran mind right there to know what's better to do at an even Tachi-ai. So after Takeda Fuji, he doesn't secure the grip exactly, but he is controlling right now. You can see outside right is pulling this arm up, and inside left is fighting for the belt, and Hakuoho is trying to wiggle these hips away like you see some LeoDSumo wrestlers do. They'll wiggle these hips to not let their opponent get a grip on the belt, and in doing that, he's not really allowing himself to get this grip around the belt either on the outside. So this is a worse position for Hakuoho to be in, and because he keeps trying to fight it away, because he's I feel like he's more afraid than he should be in this situation. Like he tried to attack outside to get Takeda Fuji's hand in, and you can see him try to pull this hand away, perhaps. You can't really tell what's going on the far side when there's an entire sumo wrestler in the way. But he is trying to fight for a better grip, basically. And because of that, his footwork is suffering. Like I said, look at Takeda Fuji's base. His hips, sure, are a bit higher, but he is dug into the ground. He is not going to be moving. Whereas his opponent, Hakuoho, these hips are, a little bit lower, but the legs are a bit straighter. They're not as bent. They're not as ready for this assault. I was going to say assault and attack at the same time. I swear my tongue has dyslexia. But he's trying to fight for this grip, but in doing that, he's allowing Takeda Fuji to get control. So now he has the outside right. Takeda Fuji gets the inside left. And Takeda Fuji is just going to take this incremental advantage. And while Hakuoho continues to struggle in a situation where he should probably slow down and kind of assess the situation, assess what's going on, maybe try to get a slower grip on the belt, he's trying to fight for a quick grip. And this quick grip is what's being his downfall, because right here you could kind of see it. Right here, he's going to switch the grip from this outside right to an inside right to try to get double inside. But what that's going to do, we can't really see it here, is it exposes his shoulder. So that means Takeda Fuji can attack the shoulder of Hakuoho, pull away, and just send Hakuoho down into the ground. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Tries to make him loose it, and he gets tossed to the side. So in that one quick motion, he tries to switch the grip, and he gets punished for it. Also, watch his footing, too. Like, watch this back foot. He's sliding backwards. He's trying to push forward, sliding backwards, and, exposing his back, sliding backwards on that back foot. It was not a good situation to be in from the beginning for Hakuoho. I think, I can't speak for his mindset. Can't really say if he was intimidated or anything by his veteran opponent, or if he was simply afraid to let his veteran opponent get a better grip around the belt. But his more chaotic approach to the match served him no favors. Next up is against Bushozan, who had a very terrible tournament. And, at this point, we were wondering, oh, maybe it's because Bushozan's style is very similar to Takakeisho. Some, myself included, call him, baby Takakeisho, a mini Takakeisho. And so this match we probably thought is going to be like mini Hakuoho versus mini Takakeisho. Who knows? But Bushozan is kind of disappointed. Tachiai Bushozan with a lower charge, that full body charge, gets Hakuoho all the way back to the edge, but can't finish him off. And now this is where Hakuoho takes it slower, gets the grip on the inside left, not really the outside right, but loses the grip, pulled the arm up into the armpit. But in this grip versus grip against someone like Bushozan, it's just a slow roll until he wins. You can see they're stalemated right now, but Hakuoho secures the outside right, inside left, not on the belt, but it's still getting him good leverage. And it's just a matter of time at this point. I think Hakuoho, maybe he was told that he needs to take it a little bit slower in a LeoDSumo match like this, took the advice, and manages to push forward for the win. Simple Yorikiri. So majority of this match being dead time, the Tachi-ai is the thing to pay attention to most, because again, mini Takakeisho here, Bushozan, gets the better charge at the Tachi-ai. He's lower, he's driving forward, he's got the inside push on the chest, whereas Hakuoho here, that elbow is kind of bent up and outside, so it's not going to be able to generate as much force, as much leverage if it were, down and inside, kind of like how Bushozan's is. And he's going to get popped back at the Tachi-ai. His feet simply cannot, get the grip. But once he gets the foot on the Tawada, he's taking the push to the face. He's parrying these attacks quite well. And you can see attacking the armpit with this left hand, trying to deflect with this right hand, trying to control the elbow just so he can kind of assuage the push, make sure that the push isn't as strong up to his face. Solid defensive sumo. And then this is where it gets better for him. He gets the grip around the back. He's going to pull his opponent in and lock him into LeoDSumo, grappling sumo. And Bushozan, not really known for his LeoDSumo. Once they do exchange these grips, it is just a matter of time. And I'm not gonna pause it here, take it slow, but eventually you're going to see Hakuoho, he's wiggling his hips away from the grip, just like we saw against Takarafuji, except this time he has a more solid base. This time, his feet are not like all the way back here with his leg extended, trying to just get surface area so he doesn't slide backwards. No, this time his leg is a little bit more under him. It's just as straight, but it's more under him this time. And, that's a lot better for him because even though he has these raised hips a little bit higher than his opponent, it's more for the stability in the middle of the ring, and it's because he's leaning his chest forward, leaning these shoulders down into his opponent. So this straight leg underneath him, propping him up, applying the weight and the pressure to shoulder, this is chest to chest. This is going to be better for him over time because, again, when you catch an Oshizumo wrestler, the pusher thruster sumo wrestler, and force him into LeoDSumo, his percentage chance of winning goes way, way, way down. And like I said during live, it is during this that he's taking it much slower. He's thinking about his moves more deliberately, and he's not panicking. He's not trying to immediately go for a grip. So if he got any advice yesterday about his, his eagerness in the match, definitely took it to heart today. Got the outside right grip on the belt, still can't get the inside left, but the outside grip is usually more powerful. Eventually, Hakuoho is going to dip the hips. There it is. And I think it's because Bushozan goes for a move first. So watch Bushozan's hips. I think it's because he attacks first. Yes, Bushozan attempts to switch the grip here. So you're going to see a very poor attempt. Bushozan attempts to pull back, like he wiggles the hips, he pulls back the shoulder to try to dip this arm inside, but I mean, he's already being pulled in. There's no way he's going to switch this grip, and this one moment opening allows Hakuoho to get the push.
Bushozan trying to step back for a throw, but he will get pushed back chest to chest.
So very smart awareness from Hakuoho, pushing forward for that chest to chest win, getting a solid victory. 3-1, going up against another veteran of the ring, Ryuden, who is sitting at 0-4. And you would think, oh, this is going to be a throwaway match, but Ryuden finished 10-5. Really ran the table this tournament.
Facts.
I think he had 9 straight wins, right? Hakuoho getting lower, getting the inside left, but going for a throw, it's not really working out for him. It is Ryuden with the outside grip that is more powerful right here. Hakuoho trying to control the other grip, but now an awkward spot to be in. Ryuden, lower hips, lower shoulders, better chest to chest there, and Hakuoho gets pushed on out. So what goes wrong for Hakuoho here? And again, I think it's because of not the best Tachi, and I think he is slightly panicking again against a more veteran opponent, which, again, could be a mindset thing. I can't read a sumo wrestler's mind, but he does seem to try to accelerate the match when he should probably try to slow it down. Right here, he gets a good Tachi, but again, I don't like seeing the back leg out so far, especially up on tippy toes. I'd rather see this foot a little more forward and, apply a more solid base because, again, look at his veteran opponent. His legs are extended, sure, but the feet are flat on the ground. He's getting a more solid base compared to Hakuoho, who's trying to get a better grip right off the Tachi. The same problem he had against Takarafuji. So from here, you can see he locks in the inside left. Ryuden can't get the outside right. He does pull this foot underneath him, so now he does have a more solid base. But once Ryuden manages to get a little bit of control back, that's when Hakuoho begins to panic, because Ryuden, you can see he gets the... I'm not really sure what Hakuoho tried to do here. So Hakuoho moves that leg forward, and then I think he tries to wiggle so he can do something on the right side. We can't see the right side, so I don't know what's going on, but watch his hips here. He's going to wiggle his hips and allow Ryuden to get the outside right, which he's pulling backwards too, so I'm not exactly sure what his plan was there. And in pulling backwards, that allows Ryuden to push forward, and now Hakuoho is the one in danger because he's slipping backwards. His feet are not going to be flat on the ground in just a second. Look at the way he's leaning too. If Ryuden just went for a throw with the outside right here, he would have gotten the win, but I'm not really sure what he was trying to do here.
Ryuden takes the charge, catches Hakuoho.
Yeah, he like twists his shoulders and his hips and just lets Ryuden get the grip. That's really confusing to me. I don't think that was Ryuden's offense. I think that was more Hakuoho making a mistake right there. And because of that, allowing Ryuden to get the outside grip, he attempts the throw here. So you could kind of see it. He kicked forward to maybe try to hook the leg, but once he doesn't get it, he does smartly pull it back immediately, trying to go for a throw with his inside left, but Ryuden, very wise to that attempt, doesn't let the leg kick happen, doesn't let the leg lock happen. And from here, Ryuden is exerting more control. He is the one leaning more forward onto Hakuoho, whereas Hakuoho here, sure, he has the inside grip, but I think he's panicking again. Because now he's trying to get that left foot forward, trying to get a better push, but he kind of just turns his shoulders in a more awkward position. You can see this left shoulder's dipped inside to keep that grip on the belt, but it's really only turning his body more. And when if you're driving your shoulder forward, that's fine, but Ryuden is getting a bear hug around this shoulder and is slowly turning Hakuoho around using this outside right grip. And that's just going to allow Ryuden to get a better push against this, going to soon be not fully in front of him, Hakuoho. And what I mean by that is, he's going to get to the side of Hakuoho and be able to push him out if this continues. Hakuoho is stopping himself from being turned, but I think it's too late at this point. This is just full control from Ryuden, unless he tries to go for another like kakenage maybe. But Ryuden pulls back, so kind of what we just saw the other day. He pulls back. Oh, that's the wrong color. He pulls back so he can get lower on the grip. He's going to lock in the inside left on the belt, and he's going to use that to push forward for the win. Double grip on the belt, chest to chest, and that was just better sumo from Ryuden. Hakuoho didn't really know what to do in that situation, and it showed. Next up, Hakuoho versus the then undefeated at this point Gonoyama. He was my favorite to be in the Yusho race from the bottom of the division, but you later see in the tournament why that was not meant to be. Gonoyama trying to get a push up to the face, getting a good push up to the face, trying to step back, slap down. It does not work. Hakuoho keeping his footing. Now he's the one on the push. A little wild with those hands, but he does eventually get his own pullback, slap down. A chaotic and violent fight, and part of the reason why I think that it is so chaotic is because these are, two top division rookies, which again, with the veterans, you'll see them taking it a bit slower or taking it a bit more measured, whereas between these two guys, it was a pretty good match. It was a pretty good fight between them. And, right off the Tachi, good low charge from Hakuoho. He gets the inside arms, he pops up his opponent in Gonoyama, and from here, he doesn't really have full control because Gonoyama manages to get a hand up to the head and try to control Hakuoho. You can see Gonoyama is kind of using this disadvantageous inside left under his armpit to his advantage because this is tilting him to the side. He's like, all right, you're tilting me to the side. You're going to go with me. I'm going to get my right hand up to your head and tilt you to the side as well. And that does get Hakuoho a little bit off balance and allow Gonoyama to kind of pull back and recharge, going up high to the face again. Hakuoho, he does slide backwards, but he manages to keep these hands in a good position. You can see hand to the stomach. I have to assume his right hand is doing the same thing on the other side, stopping himself from sliding back even further, getting a solid base. And then this is where a little bit of separation occurred, and that's when Gonoyama attempts to go for a step back slap down. It doesn't work, which, I mean, it almost works, but he didn't really apply as much pressure as he should have to the back of the head because he was too busy stepping back and keeping his own footing inside the ring and not slipping himself. So sacrificing a little bit on the attack to make sure he survives is not a bad idea, but that's going to allow Hakuoho to regain momentum, and now that he's standing back up, he's going to be able to charge back into the chest of Gonoyama, which he doesn't really get a good charge, but he does meet Gonoyama, hands up high, hands to the chest, exchanging blows, and he does try to dip down. He is trying to dip down and go to the chest, but Gonoyama is still delivering a lot of good slaps up to the chest. We can see these hands are coming out wide, and it's because he probably wants to either parry and go up or go outside with a wide grip and attack the belt. We'll see what happens, and it was indeed the parry because Gonoyama pushes him back and away, and you can see the follow through on that attack, and now they're going to kind of reset in the middle of the ring. Gonoyama does have the advantage here if he just gets this right foot forward, can get the step, but Gonoyama takes his time with it. If he were to go a little bit more aggressively right there, he'd be able to get another good push against Hakuoho, but Gonoyama may have gotten into his own mind as well. If I recall correctly, it was in an interview that he said he was mentally preparing for this match against Hakuoho as opposed to mentally preparing for all the other matches he had up until this point. So he was probably in his own head a little bit, and that's why he took that attack a little slower, and instead of going for an open opportunity, they meet each other evenly again, and when you meet evenly, who has the more solid base? It's relatively even, but who's going to have the momentum? We just saw Hakuoho dip his head down into the chest, and that's going to apply pressure to the chest of Gonoyama. Gonoyama is the one moving backwards, attempting another slap to the back a little bit. Neither one really has a solid grip around the other. You can see Hakuoho nearly locks in this grip around the arm, locking the inside right up into his own armpit, but then he pulls back for the slap down instead, and I think Gonoyama expected to be pushed a little bit harder, and that's why he was susceptible to this pullback slap down, which was a very good pullback slap down at the very end here, and we can even see it again. A smooth motion gets the hand to the back of the head, and that's how you convert the slap down. Gonoyama applied a slap, but he didn't follow through with the grip to the back of the head, whereas Hakuoho this time around got the grip to the back of the head, pushed it down, and got the good push. Defeats Gonoyama to go 4-2, and this is where he fights Endo, who, funnily enough, was also kind of in the Yusho race conversation in those final few days, and I say kind of because he's 5-1 at this point, and because he was, kind of up there. If one or two more matches went in his favor, maybe he would have been in a playoff. But getting into day 7, nearly the halfway point of the tournament, 4-2 for the rookie, going up against a 5-1. Again, a longtime veteran of the ring, fan favorite, pretty boy, old versus new. We're going to keep saying this. Is he going to have those jitters against the veterans like he has been having, or is he going to be more smart about his sumo?
Hakuoho down first again. This time he
nice low measured charge for Hakuoho, gets the grip around the arm and uses that to push forward for the win. So this is a situation for Hakuoho where I think he does have the better Tachi. Even though Endo is a bit lower, you can kind of see this stance here again. This leg is going to be pulling forward. It's a small right step, and he's going to use that so he can pull this left foot forward as he gets inside grip out in the inside left. Kind of head to head, and his head is going to go off to the right here, but that's not too bad for him. And just watch the follow-up on the feet compared to Endo. Endo kind of pulls this left foot forward, and Hakuoho couldn't get this left foot forward. Now it's sliding backwards because, you know, we talked about slippery dohyo a few times during the course of the tournament, so maybe he just couldn't get that foot up off the ground because it was slipping. But it looks favorable for Endo, but I think this is better for Hakuoho because of this defensive stance. I say I don't like this when it's back like this, but he gets a good grip over here, and he's already controlling on the outside right. Outside right around the inside left of Endo. Inside left reaching in for the belt, and you know, a solid right foot forward for him, whereas Endo is leaning forward. He does have a good push here, but this is where he does pull the left foot forward. He keeps Endo gripped in. You can see he's kind of wrapping the hand around the back and not letting Endo escape here. So Endo is pulling back this right hand, either defensively to loose this grip, or otherwise. I'm not really sure what else he could be doing with that. But you can see now this is where it starts to get good for Hakuoho. So even though this initial charge wasn't immediately good looking for him, it's at this point where it's like, oh, wait, this is indeed better for him. So getting the inside left does lock it in on the belt, exchanging the outside right with Endo, but really, again, wiggling those hips just slightly enough. He hops over to the right, and Endo tries to match that, but Hakuoho is a step ahead and is going to use this half a step advantage. Now, locking in this grip, he's going to drive the shoulder down, push forward at the chest, and this is just a really solid push. Even though he loses the grip, he's still controlling with the outside right, and this is just body to body. Endo didn't really have good footing, and that's part of the reason why this was a better win for Hakuoho here too, because watch Endo's footing here. Once he gets turned this way, his feet kind of not really trip over themselves, but just watch his feet. It's like he's doing some dirty dancing or something. His feet get a little too close together, so he tries to pull his foot out to the right, but then the pressure is so strong from Hakuoho that he's like running backwards. This right foot slips, the left foot slips. It was just really bad footwork from Endo, and that's not usually something you see from a veteran like this. So no base from Endo there, crumbling under the pressure from Hakuoho in just a straight LeoDSumo battle. Hakuoho had the solid win there, improves to 5-2 in day 7.
A bit of hopping there in the middle, but he managed to get that momentum to push Endo right out. Genuinely.
This is where he goes up against the other rookie, Shonan no Umi. And we call him a rookie despite his 9 years experience in sumo. I think I made this joke live at some point, but he is a job recruiter's favorite recruiter because he's 24 years old with 9 years experience. He's fresh out of college, 9 years experience. He didn't even go to college. But Hakuoho, you know, fresh out of high school, going up against a dude who was also fresh out of, well, not even fresh out of high school. He didn't even graduate from high school. Shonan no Umi, his career, he started sumo at the youngest age he possibly could, 24. Made it to the top division, or not 24, 15, now 24 because it is 9 years later. Going up against, you know, a good foil in the, you know, hard work versus talent kind of thing. Shonan no Umi worked for 9 years in Grand Sumo to get to where he is today, whereas Hakuoho just kind of walked in with his swagger, like that gif of Vince McMahon walking down the aisle with the weird shoulder movements, just walking into Grand Sumo like, yeah, I'm here now. I'm salaried in my second tournament. I'm in the top division after 3 tournaments in 1 year. And Shonan no Umi over here is like, you know, that one dude whose entire gimmick was, I got kids, I gotta feed my family. So Definitely a good and interesting rivalry and a good storyline to be set up here. The talent versus the hard work. What's going to pay off more? And, you know, in this head-to-head, truthfully, I don't remember who wins it, but at the end of the day, Hakuoho did end with an 11-4 compared to Shonan no Umi's 10-5.
Is it really?
They want to lift the skin away from the muscle. Go.
Hakuoho a little jumpy at the Tachi-ai. The feet slip out from Shonan no Umi. That allows Hakuoho a more solid base. Pulling, pushing, in control the entire way. Pulling again, trying to get to the side now, and he finally does.
As he gets behind him for the push out.
Hakuoho with a solid push out for the win, but I think most of this is converted from a poor footing at the Tachi-ai for Shonan no Umi, because it's from there that Hakuoho gets control and he goes into that pull and the push and the pull and the push over and over again until Shonan no Umi finally falls. So let's watch this again. Just look at Shonan no Umi's feet. Right at the Tachi-ai, those feet slip away, and because of that, he can't get a solid base. And from here, inside left, going for a throw, rocking Shonan no Umi off balance into another quick move where now he's on the push, chest to chest, driving forward. I don't even need to, you know, draw it out because this match is so fast. All the moves are back to back to back. But after a solid push, Shonan no Umi does manage to get defensive footing. When that happens, Hakuoho recognizes he's not moving anymore. Time to go for the pull. Pulls Shonan no Umi off to the side, and after pulling him off to the side, goes for another push. Keeps Shonan no Umi off balance. Shonan no Umi gets pushed off balance. Up to the side, it slows down a bit. Another pull around the ring into another push to the side. And this is the next most important part of the match, where using the outside grip, pulls himself back out. He pulls away and then charges forward. So what he's doing here is he looses the grip from the left side, our right side, or Shonan no Umi's right side, and he's going to come around to the side, but keep Shonan no Umi pulled in with this right hand outside, and then go for a push to the shoulder. And this push to the shoulder to the side of Shonan no Umi, it's very hard to get defense against that kind of push. And this very, very solid match, very good match. I wouldn't call it back and forth because it was fully in Hakuoho's control, but a very chaotic looking match because there was a lot of motion, because there was a lot of pushing and pulling one after another, a lot of attacks back and forth, a lot of rocking back and forth. It's a very good match, a very fun sumo match. And again, right there, I think it was Shonan no Umi's lack of footing at the Tachi-ai that allows Hakuoho to get all this momentum in the first place. And, you know, it is a disservice to say Hakuoho won because Shonan no Umi slipped at the Tachi-ai, but, you know, if you throw an interception on the first play of the game and they score a touchdown off of it, you know, it's kind of hard to come back from that. It's very hard to come back from a goal scored in the first five minutes of the 90. I'm trying to get all the worldwide sports references in, so I can be I guess soccer is, or football, depending on what country you live in, is more worldly renowned. But yeah, I mean, if you give up a goal right off the opening whistle, how are you supposed to come back from that? You know, very difficult to come back from that. And I mean, credit to Hakuoho for keeping control the entire match. It's very hard to do that in the first place. So solid win right there for Hakuoho, 6-2 at this point in the tournament. And
The Reiwa no Kaibutsu! The Reiwa monster! My God, look at his hair!
I just love Kongo's commentary, and I know a lot of you guys do as well. So let's see. This match is going up against, who is that? Daishoho, who, if I remember correctly, I completely forgot about him when making my my Guess the Banzuke. I had Koto Eiko on there twice. But Daishoho, and I say this about a good chunk of sumo wrestlers, he's not exactly someone I pay attention to because he never really commands that kind of presence. You never really feel a, hey, pay attention to me kind of sumo from him. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you're a fan of him, like that one Oi Takaze fangirl. But I can't really say much about his style because, even though I'm watching all the sumo all the time, I don't really know what his style is. I don't really pay attention to his style. So I can tell you he's a big boy, probably goes for some solid LeoDSumo like a lot of other people from Oi Takaze stable do. But his opponent here, Hakuoho, 6-2. His record 3-5. Not really looking good for him. He starts off pretty far back from the line, and we can see right off the Tachi in this freeze frame. Cute little smiley face right here. But this is going to be a long charge for Hakuoho if he wants to meet him at the chest. So Tachi, he doesn't even go for a charge. He slaps him to the side, and we're not doing the full speed right now, but that's fine. So he slaps him to the side, follows up, but Daishoho, solid base, a lot of weight, hard for Hakuoho to get a good follow-up, but at the edge, it is going to be Daishoho with the push-out. So again, I'm not really sure if Hakuoho had a game plan here for this much bigger opponent, but it seems like his game plan was to get to the side and try to win on that secondary charge. But Daishoho, very solid base, very solid footing, didn't allow himself to get pushed back, and Hakuoho just ran into a brick wall afterwards. So at the Tachi, this is where Hakuoho would want to immediately regain this footing and just go. Just try to go as fast as possible. You already have him to the side. He's going to be off balance by the time you meet him. You need to go now. And it kind of takes him a second because instead of like recharging, he shuffles his feet forward and then meets him for Oshizumo. So instead of trying to really follow up on that charge as fast as he could, he shuffles his feet forward, and that allows Daishoho to regain his stance. And you can see his feet are very solid down in the ground. Happy to exchange blows like this. And Daishoho just overpowers. Even though Hakuoho has the double inside, Daishoho, bigger body, bigger belly, more strength, you would have to imagine if you're someone this big. And usually I don't like using the pure strength argument, but that is something we do for Teru no Fuji very often. That's something we did for Asanoyama at the last tournament too, where it's like, yeah, he's winning through just his strength alone. This was a match where Daishoho won through strength alone. Like, he got outplayed at the Tachi, and then afterwards it's just like, he felt the mosquito land on his chest, and he's like, oh, that's it? And then he just pushes forward for the win. Sorry about that clack, but my ring hit my microphone. So not exactly the best match from Hakuoho there. Falls to 6-3.
Yeah.
And here we are against now someone who he could definitely outmuscle in Kotoeko. Although I'm not sure if he could, because Kotoeko is pretty built. Day 10, Kotoeko trying to look for that winning record, sitting at 4-5, going up against Hakuoho, who is at 6-3, who is, at this point, he was a couple wins outside the Yusho race, but this is when Nishikigi starts falling. So that's when he re-enters the conversation in the Yusho race. Let's see this match against two, well, we know Kotoeko's style, fiery LeoDSumo, but again, I don't like using strength as an excuse for, well, not an excuse, but as the main reason for a win, but low Tachi converted well into a push. Kotoeko really couldn't stand a chance there. Like, not really much to break down right off the Tachi. Inside left, underneath the elbow, containing Kotoeko. That's going to prop up Kotoeko. Kotoeko's shoulders are higher than Hakuoho's. Hakuoho is also the bigger man. Kotoeko, his feet slide backwards. Don't really have any defense there, and just Tachi overpower. It's kind of funny how we'll spend like 5-10 minutes analyzing one match, and then we'll have a match like that again where it's 1 minute long. Hakuoho versus Takayasu. Again, old versus new, but it was at this point in the tournament that Takayasu was like completely collapsing. Just absolutely falling apart. Like, if you play, I play a lot of EU4, Europa Universalis 4, looking like Ming right after the earthquake, where they just start collapsing, irredeemable, falling apart piece by piece. They can't do anything to stop it. And even Takayasu later in the tournament attempts a Henka. That's how bad his collapse was. But I mean, the poor guy had to be fighting injured. I think he was Kyujo from the Jungyo tours. So for those of you who don't know, between sumo tournaments, the sumo wrestlers will go on tour between a bunch of, cities and put on exhibition matches. And to my knowledge, Takayasu either did not participate at all, or he slipped a disc again and he is no longer participating. But either way, I feel like at this point he was fighting injured. He's just, he's looking like, old Blue, your poor dog, about to take him out back behind the barn. But I mean, I said that about Toji Noshin for what, 3 years before he finally retired. But I do think this was a temporary setback for Takayasu. Takayasu is not that weak of a sumo wrestler, but he was looking very weak this tournament. I want to believe he was fighting injured and that's why he was doing so terribly. But, we'll see for the next tournament. Hopefully he can come back healthy for the next tournament. But anyway, this match against Takayasu, Hakuoho, getting low, meeting evenly at the Tachi-ai, but turns Takayasu to the side, uses that to get behind him, and Takayasu, his grip kind of slipped away from him, and I think that was the main issue here. Maybe a lack of strength as well, maybe feeling a lot of back pain, who knows. But right at the Tachi-ai, again, it's evenly matched, and I like this the zoom in, the perfect freeze frame on the blur, where the only thing in focus is Takayasu's ass. But right after this Tachi-ai, it's even. Inside right, trying to be reached in, but Takayasu is reaching outside right himself, or inside left rather for Hakuoho. Outside right for Takayasu, containing that grip. And Takayasu is going to try to go for a push here, really dig these hips down. Like you can see he hopped forward, dug the hips down, and he's going to try to go for a pickup using this arm as leverage. We can't really see what's going on the far side over here, but Hakuoho meets it. You can see he gets this left foot back all the way again to go on defense. I think he pulls his arm away here. Let's see it again. He does get picked up by Takayasu, but Takayasu is putting a lot of the strength just in this one back foot, trying to lift up with these shoulders up high. And that's going to allow Hakuoho to get around to the side of Takayasu. And from there, again, attacking the side, Takayasu, you can't really put up good defense, especially when he's standing himself up like this. You could probably say he is getting stood up by Hakuoho as well, which is how Hakuoho is able to get the slap up to the back. You can see how fast he transitioned that hand. It was gripping the belt and then up to a slap to the back, gets to the side, and then after getting to Takayasu's side, it's a simple regain the grip. Takayasu does manage to re-square up though, but the momentum is in Hakuoho's favor. This looks like a combination of Takayasu trying to go for a throw around the back of the head, which I don't know why any sumo wrestler ever goes for this. It never works. And a combination of Hakuoho just getting a better grip around the back. Takayasu kind of loses it for himself here because he attempts this throw up high around the back of the head that never ever works, but I see sumo wrestlers go for it on occasion. And yeah, just gives up the grip. Solid sumo from Hakuoho. Can't really say that was his best looking match, but it's a Kachikoshi match, and that is good for him. This match. Now, I don't remember if it was this tournament or the last one, if there were actually, I think it was this tournament that there was a rumbling that Abi is indeed fighting on a bad foot or a bad ankle or something, which it really shows in his record. So you would normally see Abi go 8-7 from this position on the Banzuke, but I mean 6-9, that's nothing to scoff at as a komusubi either. But this is Hakuoho's first taste of the Sanyaku, a 4-7 Abi, another very strong pusher thruster. And you have to wonder, is he going to get intimidated by the rank? Is he going to get intimidated by the fact he's going up against a former Yusho winner? Is he going to get intimidated here, or is he going to, keep a cool head and meet this match as well as he possibly can? So let's see. Abi versus Hakuoho. Between the two. Abi trying to go high, slipping forward, allows Hakuoho to get the grip after a slip, tries to pull back for a slap down, can't get it, tries to pull back for a second slap down, can't get it again, and Hakuoho charges through Abi. And right here, this was another very chaotic match and another very exciting match. But how solid is it for Hakuoho? I was calling it more in Abi's perspective, but let's do it from Hakuoho's perspective this time. Hakuoho takes the charge, tries to go for a slap down, but now pushes forward with a grip, avoids another slap down himself, and then pushes forward again for another strong grip. So Hakuoho, this match was only 10 seconds long, not even, but Hakuoho, I think he fought appropriately for his opponent. Off the Tachi-ai, you can see he doesn't really get his Tachi-ai, and Abi is the one to, get his own Tachi-ai. So you can see he tries to, slap down at the arms as most people do against Abi, and he starts pulling backwards because he got a good slap down to the hands, and Abi is stumbling now. So all he needs to do to convert this is continue pulling away and complete the slap down, because it looks like Abi is about to lose his footing and he's about to stumble down to the ground, which we usually see from Abi. But it's Abi that manages to keep his footing because he gets a grip on the chest of Hakuoho, and Hakuoho was very, very light on that attack to the back of the head. He did not put any pressure in that. Watch his slap to the back. That was barely a slap, my guy. So combination of that barely a slap and Abi catching himself on Hakuoho's chest, Abi picks himself back up, and now it's all about the strong defense from Hakuoho. Foot back on the Tawara. It looks like he mostly relies on that left foot for defense, because you'll see it, at the Tachi-ai, you'll see it in the middle of a match too. That back left foot, he uses it a lot for his defense. That might be a point of weakness, but we'll see if any of his opponents take advantage of that in the next sumo tournament. So big defense at the Tawara here. And with that, for a moment, he actually got a bear hug around Abi, but feeling the pressure, now it's Abi's turn to try to step back, slap down. But because Hakuoho is not that far away that he could realistically go for this comfortably, Hakuoho goes back on the push. He keeps the grip around the hip for just long enough that he can keep this base. Look at that. And although this leg isn't in the best position, this toe could easily slip out from underneath him, everything is squared up except for the feet, maybe. Just really, look at this leg. Really good defense on the leg. He's not getting slapped down here. Abi still hopping around the ring like a rabbit, trying to pull back for a slap down, but just the footwork from Hakuoho is really well done. He's keeping the feet underneath him, not allowing himself to get slapped down, and he's going to convert that. In the middle of the ring, they both kind of hesitate for just a split second, and then Hakuoho follows up with another push to the chest. That push to the chest is going to be converted into, another Abi attempt at a step back slap down. He's trying to retreat around the side while delivering blows to the back of the head here, but Hakuoho is getting this foot forward. He's going to follow up with another strong foot. He's going to keep these feet underneath him so he doesn't get slapped down, and it's going to be converted into a super strong push. It was after this too that, we saw him holding his shoulder, and a lot of people ask, and still ask, why does Hakuoho have his shoulder wrapped up? It's because it's a preventative measure. It's not because he is currently injured, but it's because he did get an injury back in either middle school or high school. I couldn't find a straight story about it, but it's to prevent an injury that he had in the past. So kind of like how some guys will, Abi has an ankle wrap because he had ankle surgery, or how some guys have wrist wraps, or I broke my ankle way back in high school, so if I ever do intensive sports again, I'd probably wear an ankle wrap on my left ankle. So You know, just something like that. It's not because he's currently injured. But when he fell here, a lot of people were wondering, oh no, is he hurt? Is he going to be able to continue competing? He's at 9-3 right now. He's just outside of the Yusho race. Can he keep competing? I hope he can keep competing. I hope people frothing at the mouth. I hope Abi didn't hurt someone I like again. Oh my God. I hate Abi. But no, it didn't seem to affect him as we get into this match against Nishikigi, where I didn't really have a lot of the Tachi eye there. So this is our first freeze frame, but we do. I'll just take it from here at full speed. Nishikigi was way overperforming at this tournament. He knocked down everyone except for Kotonowaka, who was ranked above him on the Banzuke. And, you know, Kotonowaka is his own story. You could argue he got 11-4 because there were, you know, no Ozeki or Yokozuna there, but that's a different story for another time. And that's something we can argue when he makes it to Ozeki by the end of the year. But Nishikigi versus Hakuoho. You might be able to argue that Hakuoho may have been overperforming, or maybe it's because, you know, he's at a rank he doesn't belong in, even though he is so new to sumo, compared to Nishikigi, who, you know, his entire journey up the Banzuke, I've been saying every single time, like, he's going to stop soon. He's going to stop soon. This is his ceiling. He's going to stop soon. In the same way that Wakamoto Haru proved me wrong, Nishikigi has also been proving me wrong. And I think everyone is in agreement that he did overperform, because you could see, you know, the collapse through the final few days, which, although very unfortunate, you know, it's hard to keep up that pressure when you are the Yusho leader. We've seen it before with other sumo wrestlers. Aoyama even said it himself back in, I think it was March, because May was canceled, March of 2020, when COVID started and there was no crowd. Aoyama was the Yusho leader over the likes of Hakuoho himself. But, you know, once he saw he was the Yusho leader, he got into his own head and he said, yeah, from there, my mental went boom and I just couldn't keep it up. Same thing probably happened with Nishikigi after defeating the Yokozuna, after defeating all of the Sekiwake hopefuls, after defeating, you know, one of the two Omusubi. Maybe he just got into his own head. Who knows? Maybe he started finally performing at his level, which, I mean, Komusubi level is still very strong, but, you know, there's a difference between Komusubi like Kotonowaka and Komusubi like Abi, where, you know, they had very wildly different records at this tournament. But enough about Nishikigi, where this is a Hakuoho video. Hakuoho, a lot of people still hyped up about him, wanted him to win this match so we could see him in the Yusho race. And here, what is this, day 13? That is exactly what we're getting. Nishikigi versus Hakuoho. And Hakuoho starts off with a strong charge, but let's watch it full live, or full speed. So Hakuoho with the nice low charge. Nishikigi stopping him up. Good defense right there. Tries to lock in the inside left on the belt, but Hakuoho uses that to pull back. Attempts Katasukashi, but it doesn't work. Nishikigi nearly has him out chest to chest. Fights back to the middle of the ring, though, is Hakuoho, taking it slow, not taking it too fast now like he did earlier in the tournament against Takada Fuji. Walking it back to the middle of the ring, and they are going to be stalemated for a little while. Let me take a sip of water.
Look at those leg muscles from both of these guys.
And it looks like they're going to be stalemated here for a bit. Nearly one right off the rip for Hakuoho. Same for Nishikigi, they nearly beat each other right there. Small movement, doesn't really amount to anything, but double grip locked in for Hakuoho compared to the one grip for Nishikigi, so this is favorable for Hakuoho no matter how much longer this goes. Nishikigi standing himself up just a little bit, trying to push forward, trying to control the inside grip, but the leg kick comes out from Hakuoho. That's a move we did not see from him all tournament. He attempted it earlier in the tournament against Ryuden, but it didn't work, and you could argue maybe he didn't even like fully attempt it against Ryuden, but it is here against Nishikigi that he pulls it out and gets it. So let's see, earlier in the match, because we don't have the proper lead-in for the Tachi-ai. Solid Tachi-ai for both men. Hakuoho, I would say, has the advantage here because he's the one getting the push up to the face, up to the rib cage, and is a little to the side. So if everything goes right, he could push Nishikigi to the side, get to the side, and push him out. But that's not what happens because Nishikigi has very solid defense. We said it all tournament, solid as a tree. And you could see, although this right elbow is being bent in awkwardly, like that defense is cracking. The bark on this tree is coming off.
Strong as a tree.
But he manages to convert that into a pretty good grip. And from here, this grip, inside left, outside right for both men. This looks really good for Nishikigi. Nishikigi tries to control with a grip on the belt now, but once he locks in the grip on the belt, this is when Hakuoho tries to get to the side, and you can see it. He's pulling at this arm, and it's not exactly a Katasukashi because Nishikigi isn't going down into the ground. It would have been a different Kimarite if he got the throw around the back at this point, but you could see he's trying to go for this throw. He's really pulling at this arm, and I mean, if he were to try to shift his body and then go for the throw over the back, like we saw from Hoshoryu a few years ago at this point, the Ipponze Oit, that would have been super slick, but, you know, Nishikigi is a really big guy. Nishikigi actually has some solid defense here, and it's partly because I think Hakuoho doesn't have the best footing that he may abort this attack and allow Nishikigi to convert it into a strong push, because he does indeed pull out of the attack. It didn't look like it was a strong pull and throw attempt, and that's going to allow Nishikigi to get the grip, attempt Yorikiri here, but because like this is a really, really important movement. It's a very small movement, but it's a very important movement. Look at the hips from Hakuoho. He's going to dip the hips and use that to get a better grip on the belt and get a better position, reset his stance. Just watch him dip these hips. Dips the hips, wiggles them away, resets his defensive stance, and then they're going to push back into the middle of the ring. And from here, it's just until the next move. They're stalemated. Hakuoho has the inside grip, and again, it's just the next move. Usually when you see this position, it's the first one to attack usually loses because they themselves open themselves up. So it's, you know, high risk, high reward here. You're much better off trying to sit here and wait until an opening presents itself, which is why it's so dangerous to go for the first move. So when Nishikigi kind of pulls his foot a little further forward, getting stood up a little bit, turning each other, Nishikigi, I can't really tell. Did Nishikigi step forward like that so willingly? Yes, he did. So Nishikigi, this could be a very strong pull from Hakuoho on this inside left arm, in combination with Nishikigi trying to step forward and push forward hip to hip maybe. But let's back up a few frames and see what goes on before this attack, because it's going to be very swift. So
Pushing forward, try the leg kick behind the back, and Hakuoho gets the win.
It's very quick move. I think it's a bit of both here. Hakuoho goes for the pull. Nishikigi obliges because he thinks, oh, I'm going to be able to get belly to belly, chest to chest, get a really good push. And Hakuoho wraps the leg around and kicks that leg up from Nishikigi. And you can see forward up on that heel, way off balance, falls backwards. Really well done leg kick. I think this was kind of mutual. I don't think Nishikigi expected the leg to be kicked. I think he might have expected, okay, Hakuoho is pulling me in. I'll take that. You know, I'll go belly to belly with Hakuoho. I think that's what Nishikigi might have thought. Because he gets pulled, and then he definitely did not expect that leg kick.
Pushing forward, try the leg kick behind the back, and Hakuoho gets the win. Pushing forward, try the leg kick behind the back, and Hakuoho.
It's just so, it's so swift, it's so beautiful.
Try the leg kick behind the back, and Hakuoho gets the win.
It's such a slick move. Hakuoho gets the win, dethrones Nishikigi. 10-3 now for Hakuoho, double digits, and now we see chaos will ensue. Hokuto Fuji Hakuoho And then we also had Nishikigi lose in this night as well. Day 14, a lot on the line. And this was going to determine, basically, if Hoshoryu won his match. Would there be a possibility for a playoff, or would there be just a straight, well, not a straight fight for the Yusho tomorrow? Because if Hokuto Fuji won here, then it would have been Hoshoryu versus Hakuoho anyway, Hokuto Fuji versus Nishikigi, and then Hokuto Fuji would have needed to win that match to just straight up win the tournament. Whereas Nishikigi, if he won and then things happened, there would have been a different playoff. We were thinking about a lot of different playoff scenarios at this point, but a lot of people, a lot of people were saying, I like Hokuto Fuji, but I love Hakuoho. Like, it would be awesome if Hakuoho won. Like, sure, I like Hokuto Fuji. Hokuto Fuji is a great guy, don't get me wrong. I don't know anyone that dislikes Hokuto Fuji, but Hakuoho is the new hotness. Everyone's on that Hakuoho bandwagon. So this is a very important match to look at. We looked at it last week from Hokuto Fuji's perspective, so let's watch it from Hakuoho's perspective this time around.
Hakuoho far behind the line trying to avoid that tackle. Isotachi will go too.
Hokuto Fuji getting the grip on each other. Hakuoho with the inside left. It doesn't look like Hokuto Fuji has either grip on the belt, those arms up high. Hakuoho, I think he has the advantage here, but again, right off the Tachi-ai, content to stand still, and usually it's whoever makes the first move loses. Zooming in on those bellies. Leg kick attempt from Hakuoho like he did yesterday, but Hokuto Fuji snuffs it out. Now Hokuto Fuji on the push. Hakuoho survives again on that push, and now they are back to neutral. Commentating it like a fighting game as if EVO wasn't just a couple weeks ago. Back to neutral. Hokuto Fuji attempts another push. They're exchanging inside left grips. Hakuoho tries to go for another pull, and at the edge here, he does finish off the pull. So there is a lot of dead time here, but there is a lot of important things that happen, in between the dead time. But right here off the Tachi-ai, this looks like a bad Tachi-ai from Hakuoho. This elbow is out, the hand isn't really attacking the face. He's flinching already. You can't flinch in the face of danger, my guy. Look at his face. It looks like he just smelled something bad. But he will lock in the inside left, and from here, they simply sit and exchange for a while. Hokuto Fuji at this point doesn't have his own inside left because Hakuoho is keeping the arm locked up in his armpit. So from here, they're stalemated for a little while. Zoom in on the belly. And they will twist a little bit here because, again, Hakuoho, right here, you're going to see it. He slaps the outside and attempts to pull in again. Slaps the outside as a feint. Attempts to pull in for a throw. Get the leg hooked around to try to go for that again, which is awesome that he's going for that. That's super cool, and I want to see more of that. But he doesn't lock it in. And Hokuto Fuji, look at the way he hops away. He throws that foot away. He's like, hell no, are you getting that foot? You are not hooking that right there. He hops away, and then they just that allows Hokuto Fuji to dig in the left grip. And using that left grip, he tries to go belly to belly for a strong push, but Hakuoho has some really strong defense here, and then they slow it back down. Shaking his head. Inside left for both men. Let's see. Another attempt to move forward from Hokuto Fuji here, but it's going to be strong defense again from Hakuoho. Just look at those hips. Look at the legs. Look at those glutes. Hakuoho again goes for another move here, tries to get to the side of Hokuto Fuji, and this is where it starts to finish, and it is a very close finish. Hokuto Fuji on the push forward. Hakuoho, he's going to try to hop to the side here to get a pull, and Hokuto Fuji on this push. Hakuoho Last second throw at the edge. You can see it's a very nice slap to the back here. And he's going to pull this foot around. He nearly trips on Hokuto Fuji's left foot here, but he's going to pull that foot up and over Hokuto Fuji's left foot. And this twist at the edge, just really well done defense. Just exceptional sumo from Hakuoho to go 11-3.
We've got a real match.
It's blown.
But just in the end, really well done from Hakuoho. And again, I hope this tournament teaches him that taking your time in those stalemates is not a bad way to go. Because he didn't take his time against Takeda Fuji, lost. He didn't take his time against Ryuden, lost. And then later in the tournament, he takes his time in some of these matches. He takes his time in the most important match against Hokuto Fuji. In that match, he wins. He takes his time against Nishikigi, and he finds the victory. Here, though, against Hoshoryu, to see who is going to fight in the playoff against Hokuto Fuji. And in something of a rock, paper, scissors, Hokuto Fuji defeated Hoshoryu. We all know the results of this match. Hoshoryu defeats Hakuoho, and Hakuoho defeated Hokuto Fuji. So you like to see that kind of thing. But the final day, the final match for Hakuoho versus Hoshoryu. At this point, Hakuoho, he's earned his special prize. He's done amazingly. He's gotten so many new fans. Everybody loves him. Win or lose, everyone is proud of Hakuoho at this point. You gotta be. I mean, come on. What a debut. Knocking off 2 Yusho leaders back to back. And, even earlier in the tournament, he fought against Endo, who was in the conversation for a little bit. He knocked off Komusubi. Now, he's got to fight through Hoshoryu, who is the favorite to become the Yusho winner. And at this point, has a lot more than just the Yusho on his shoulders. Hoshoryu needs this to become Ozeki. We covered this one 2 weeks ago from Hoshoryu's perspective, but let's watch it from Hakuoho's perspective.
In deference to the Sekiwake,
Hakuoho gets a good charge, but gives up a double grip on the belt nearly, and then gets twisted down in the middle of the ring. So, again, doesn't take his time here. You can see right off the Tachi-ai, he gets the grip inside left. He actually manages to take it from an outside into... Oh, that's the wrong color. Manages to take it from outside into inside. And then from here, he's going to try to step around to the side. And again, he doesn't take his time. He doesn't slow it down. He doesn't take a second to think. He doesn't take a second to stop and, smell the flowers, smell the chanko a little bit even. But he gets a little ambitious here. They both exchange grips. Outside right for Hoshoryu, inside left. And we know how strong the outside right for a thrower like Hoshoryu is. So Hakuoho tries to come around the side here, but the footwork is not that good. The feet are too close together. The shuffling is just not ideal. And Hoshoryu is just going to take advantage of that by going for his own throw. And look, this right foot is very far out. That's not doing anything defensively. And he was in the process of walking this way, so he's not going to be able to change direction immediately to save himself with a step forward. And so just a really quick loss from Hakuoho. And I think it's because, again, he was overexcited, I think. In the similar vein, like against those veterans, Takeda Fuji and Ryuden, he thought he had to do more than he needed to. But if he just meets at the Tachi-ai, gets this grip, exchanges this grip for a little while, and can sit in Yotsuzuma, maybe Hoshoryu attempts a leg trip. Maybe he attempts a leg trip. But it would still be a more solid foundation than what he does to himself here, where he kind of gives Hoshoryu a better advantage by giving Hoshoryu more leverage by coming to the outside himself, giving up his own footwork, because again, he's in the process of shuffling this way when Hoshoryu just turns and lets him fall. So this was Hakuoho's worst match of the tournament, honestly. This was Hakuoho's worst showing of the tournament. And, again, I can't read their minds. I can't speak for what they might have been thinking, but I think maybe he was in over his head here.
Exchanging grips.
and he falls.
Oh, the twist down.
He
Oh, shoulder
may have been very
roll,
nervous.
saying you have 10,000 years ahead of you to face.
And maybe, it just wasn't in the cards for him this tournament. But he will be moving up the Banzuke. How far up the Banzuke will he be going? That question might be answered by my own guest, the Banzuke, which I posted earlier this week on Wednesday. And up until the Banzuke comes out, I don't really have any sumo content planned, but I do have other content planned on my other channels, such as more EU4 videos, more song covers, and you can catch that on Leo Dickinson VT, which is going to be popping up in just a little bit. You can click on that on the screen over here. If you want to see some of my other streams of games, I post my VODs over on Leo Dickinson Long Plays, mostly story-based games, because I can't put the variety ones or the ones where I play music up there because YouTube will hate me. And then, of course, check out more of my sumo content over here. I will be posting an update on the Young Guns once the Banzuke comes out, where we go over, which of our favorites are rising and falling, the Judio debutantes to look out for that change their names. And I don't like the way they changed their names, because now it's not Mukai Nakano anymore, which I really like that name, but now he's something else. I don't even remember his new Shikona. But look out for that video. It's going to be coming out after the Banzuke drops, before the next tournament. And, maybe I'll try to make something in between the next few weeks to put out something interesting. I've been thinking about making a Nishonoseki versus Miyagino kind of video where we go over their individual stables, because those are the two guys that are... they want to pioneer sumo for the better in the future. So maybe that's a video script I can write. Although I still have to do the intro to sumo videos that you guys have been asking for pretty often. And basically just an updated, more detailed sumopedia is what I'm working on. So I'm going to keep on working on those. I don't know if any of those videos are going to come out anytime soon, but look for them by the end of the year at the very least. And then you can use those to get your friends into sumo. But that's enough talking from me. This video has gone on for almost an hour and a half, and that is going to be it from me. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and enjoy the rest of August until the Banzuke drops.